How's it going, guys and geeks? Welcome to the Geekritique Show. We're your hosts. I'm Jenn.
I'm Dakota.
And we're going to talk about Ready Player One today.
Yes, we're going to be actually reviewing this film. First few minutes are spoiler-free, so if you haven't seen the film yet, definitely you can definitely check out our review here before we start talking about actual plot details that will affect your viewing experience negatively. Usually, when we do a review for a film or a review for the final episode of a TV show or something like that, that's kind of like capping the coverage that we produce here on this channel. But as you can see, we've created a lot of videos for Ready Player One. Jen, we need more hands. Two. That's actually not enough. But we don't plan to stop here with Ready Player One. We actually plan to create a few more videos if possible. One of them is a really quick Easter egg video that I haven't seen anyone else mention from the film. Technically, I guarantee you that nobody has seen these Easter eggs that I have seen. I can guarantee that, actually.
Wow. What are you going to do? Will you give them their money back? Like, what does this guarantee?
Nobody has seen them.
We'll give you the time back that you wasted watching the video.
Nobody has seen these Easter eggs, so we're definitely going to do a video on those Easter eggs that are in the movie. Also, we actually want to do, when the video finally comes out on digital, if possible, if we can grab a 4K file of the movie, I want to do what I do in the trailer breakdowns with the entire movie. Like we do with the trailer breakdowns for Ready Player One, we try to touch on every single Easter egg that you can possibly see. We go frame by frame. I want to do that with the movie. I want to do that with the full movie. And a lot of the movie is just like people talking. So there's not a lot of Easter eggs in those moments except for when they mention certain things. Hopefully I can do that if I can find a 4K file of the film. And if you know how I could potentially get one of those, help me out, because I think it will benefit everyone who is interested in doing something like that. I'll need a lot of help.
Yes, that's very ambitious, and I have a feeling I won't be touching the computer for over a week.
For our review...
Yes,
we
so excited about.
Decided we were gonna. We were at, I don't remember what store we were.
Target.
We were at Target and we saw Georgia peach flavor Coca-Cola
in the bottle, and I've never seen that flavor before, and I love Coca-Cola, and I got really excited, and I was like, let's get it and try it on the show.
So we're gonna review Ready Player One, and we're gonna taste these peach flavored Coca-Colas right after this.
Show me what you got.
Okay, so let's take a sip.
I really like it.
It kind of tastes medicine-y to me.
You taste
like the
medicine-y.
aftertaste is like medicine syrup, like cough syrup.
To me, it's like the sensation and the comfort of Coca-Cola, and then afterwards,
Second sip was better.
Like Georgia Peach just was like, bam!
Wow, dangerous. All right, Ready Player One, Jen. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know.
I liked it. I thought it was a really unique film. At one point when I was watching the film, I kind of thought to myself, it's just so unusual. I don't think I've seen a film like this before. And that just because it's unique doesn't mean it's the best film I've ever seen. It's just very different. And it's very long, but you never are kind of left wondering how much longer you're going to be in the theater, or at what stage in the process, the typical process of a film are you? Mm-hmm. A lot of times I'm like, okay, so the climax is coming up. You can kind of, not that I literally say that to myself, but you kind of feel that happening. And especially with longer films, you kind of get how long have I been in here? Oh, how much longer is this? Not in a bad way, but I didn't really have that experience in this film. I was always kind of left with something to be directly interested in or intrigued by.
That's a good way to put it, because the pace was very good in this film. There wasn't a lot of downtime. There wasn't a lot of time in the film spent doing boring things. You really like that, don't you?
I like it a lot.
It's tasty. Yeah, but the pacing for the film was very good, and I actually think it was better paced than the novel.
Better paced than the novel? Explain yourself.
There is a portion in the second act of the novel that just drags on. And I'm not going to get into spoilers, but a lot doesn't happen in a very long period of time. as they kind of reset the stage for what they need to do next. In the novel, there's a period where several months pass.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, if you guys haven't read the book by Earnest Cline, I highly recommend it because it's so unique. Like you were saying, this is a very unique adventure. It's something that was always going to happen with nostalgia culture. Someone was going to pick up on the fact that people love to love nostalgia. People love the self-gratification that knowing geek culture and like to an almost pedantic degree gives them. It's a level of intellect that is useless in pretty much all aspects of life except when it comes to your friends and
being cool,
your memories, and what is currently perceived as cool, which is geek culture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really it's a fun idea, and Earnest Cline does a fantastic job. So if you guys have not read Ready Player One, I highly recommend clicking the link in the description below for a 30-day free audiobook trial on Audible. You get 2 free audiobooks, and definitely make Ready Player One one of those because it's a really great read, and Will Wheaton reads it.
Yeah, which is excellent. It's like the perfect road trip audiobook.
Yes.
Like,
definitely.
it's a great amount of time for a good road trip, and we've listened to it twice together, and it's just really fun and really exciting.
Highly recommend it. Before we move any further with this review, I want to take the time to thank 2 of our new patron sponsors on Patreon. These 2 sponsors are Stephen Braybrook and Mark Perlman. Thank you so much for your pledges here at Geekritique. It helps us produce content. It helps validate what we're doing. It helps us realize that you guys want to help us fund this content and make more of it. So we're going to do just that. And if you guys want to help fund our content, you can always check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Geekritique. Link is in the description. Every dollar counts, and it just honestly puts a smile on our face and just makes us want to work a little harder.
It makes us really happy, and it's a very gratifying and awesome feeling to know that someone cares enough to contribute on a monthly basis. It's touching, and it's lovely, so thank you.
It's really awesome. So thank you guys. You guys are going to be put into our pool of names that we pick out of the hat for pretty much every single video, unless I forget in the post-editing process.
It's not a real hat, unfortunately. I feel like he makes it sound a lot more fun. We push a button, and then the name pops up.
Yeah, it's a randomized name. So thanks, guys. The movie takes a lot of liberties from the book. I think, honestly, probably 90% of the movie is
different,
almost entirely new. Not to say that the themes are new. It felt very much like the book. If this had a different title, different character names, and everything, the similarities to the book would just be like so extreme that it would just seem like a blatant ripoff.
Yeah.
So don't think that like just because 90% of the movie is different from the book that it's necessarily bad, or that you're not going to like it if you did like the book. It felt very much like Ready Player One. The spirit of the novel was there in every single minute of the movie. And Steven Spielberg did such a good job of adapting it and making it new.
Yeah.
It felt like a fresh adventure using the same characters. Almost like, I don't know if you ever read like the Goosebumps books that had like a choose your own adventure storyline. Like, go to this page if you choose that answer, and it felt so fresh and so fun, but you know that they were still heading towards that same Easter egg at the end, you know?
I hated those so much. Like,
you're talking about the books.
The books.
Okay.
Those Goosebumps books I hated. Like, my brother used to get them all the time, and they terrified me. But I was intrigued, and then I would start to read and be like, why am I doing this to myself? Anyway, one, like, concern that I heard a lot of people express, you know, towards the release of this film was that they thought it was just going to be, like, reference after reference after reference after reference, and kind of just, like shoving geek culture down your throat. And I really loved how tastefully they did it. Where if you want to see references, you can, but you don't need to be a connoisseur of geekdom in order to understand the film and in order to really enjoy it.
Right.
And it wasn't in the books, because it's a book, he's explaining all of the references to you. Like, he's saying, yeah, and, you know, this thing from this 19 whatever comic, blah, 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 blah. Like, he would explain it to you specifically, whereas there's a lot of stuff just in the background, and if you don't see it, you won't get it, but if you do, it's really cool.
Now, there are a lot of things in the movie that, taking that thought, that I was really disappointed with, or I kind of rolled my eyes at. I was one of those people who thought that the Easter eggs would get in the way of the storytelling. And sometimes it got it, not necessarily it didn't get in the way of the storytelling, but it did get into the way of the dialogue between characters. A lot of times they would kind of like do geek battles where they would try to...
That only happened twice.
Okay, that's 2 more times than I like. Okay.
So that's kind of a pet peeve of ours. We don't like when we meet fellow geeks and they feel the need to kind of like quiz us on our knowledge, and we don't do that to other people either. And I don't think having like a vast memory or like an archive in your brain of random geek facts makes you enjoy the genre anymore, or
right. I think it helps with what we do here on YouTube, because we're able to reference other things that occur in other movies and stuff like that. But the fact that this film, there are like full dialogue scenes where they're just outdoing one another with geek culture facts, or what the creator of the Oasis, James Halliday, likes, and there's purpose to it, but it's also just like people don't talk like this, and people that do talk like this end up not liking each other.
And I think there are geeks like that out there, but I don't think all of them are. And if you're one of those, that's like fine. Like you can be like that if you want to be. I just don't like when, I don't like being frowned upon for having poor memory, because I have really bad memory, and I don't know, it doesn't mean that I don't enjoy things as much as other people who are really great at recalling facts. I didn't mind that so much because a lot of the times in those conversations, a specific point was being made.
Other than those brief moments, that honestly they feel like they're dragging on, I just kind of like roll my eyes like, okay, yeah, you're geeks, you get it, you love 80s culture, you followed this guy forever. Besides those moments, the rest of the movie is all about the characters, and if you want to look off to the side, you'll see 5, 10, 15 characters from various works of fiction that are really cool. And a lot of them are like, wow, I can't believe they got that, or wow, I haven't seen that since I was a kid, or I didn't even remember that was even a thing. There was a lot of those in this movie. That's fun. I like that. And if you're not a fan of that kind of stuff, that's not going to hamper your enjoyment. It's because you can focus in on the characters. You can focus in on the characters without having to worry about the layers of background characters to sift through. That's for me to do.
That's for him. The film isn't relying on you to know any information that they're not willing to divulge to you.
To explain.
Like they explain what you need to know, and what you don't need to know, you can look on your own, but you don't have to. It's spoiler time.
Yes, so if you have not seen Ready Player One and you want to go in spoiler free,
Vamoose.
Bye.
Felicia.
Spoiler time. All right, go ahead.
So first, why don't we talk about Percival himself?
Parzival. Okay. I think the movie made some changes to his core character. Maybe even like the type of person that he is, like on the personality spectrum.
Yeah.
He's a lot more naive than he was in the book. In the book, he's kind of like super sarcastic. He knows how crappy the world is. He realizes the dangers he faces even in the Oasis with the Sixers, always on the hunt for the egg and stuff. In the movie, he's not as...
he's kind of like an idealist dreamer.
Yeah, he's an idealist dreamer, and he's super naive.
And really positive.
I guess that does make for a better protagonist.
I think that's kind of what they were going for. Like, they wanted the lead to be more likable, especially seeing as a good amount of the film, it is his avatar. So he almost... I feel like they needed him to be more relatable. But for us who have read the book, it was like... just kind of surprising, because you almost view him as a different character completely than the lead in the book, Wade.
The mistakes that he makes in the movie are believable, and they kind of help ground the character. Like, he's, like you said, he's an idealist. Mm-hmm. He is, he finds love with Artemis.
Where you had said that, like, very early on in their relationship, he says, I love you, and he's just, like, crazy about her and stuff, and when we left the theater, Dakota was like, that was kind of ridiculous, like, he seemed so immature. But one thing is, in the book also, he's been following her on a bunch of different accounts, like her blog and stuff like that. So he
and
already...
the movie, her Twitch stream.
Yeah, her Twitch stream, which is
pretty
cool.
Funny.
Twitch is in the future.
YouTube, maybe not.
And that's what made all of the things that she said so much more, like, grounding that point where she's like, you see what I want you to see, and you know what I want you to know. And it's true, like, with internet personalities, like, you only see a certain side of us, which we're saying us, but, you know, I'm even thinking of some of the bigger ones where, like, they kind of feel like they get to know them, and that's why he had those feelings, because he felt like he knew her already, because he's been following her for a while now.
That's a good point.
And then when he meets her in person, and she's just, like, everything that he dreamed she would be, that's why he was, like, expressing his feelings so early on. And to me, that makes a bit more sense than, like, if you don't really think about that in the movie, when he does say I love you, it's like, whoa, you know her for, like, 2 days. Like, what are you doing?
For the sake of time, like in the video, or in the movie, they rearranged some of the characters' roles from the books. Instead of Parzival going undercover in IOI, Artemis goes undercover because she actually gets captured. And this just pushes the story forward much quicker than the book pushed the story forward. And that's my biggest problem with the book, is that moment where so little happens in this for the sake of, like, getting underneath IOI, getting into the belly of the beast and all that. But I was really pleased with what they did with Artemis' character. I feel like they gave her a lot to work with, and just made her really cool.
Yeah, they did. They made her really interesting and really cool, and I really liked the actress who played her. I thought that she did a really great job at just being really cool and likable, and, like, a believable human, especially considering, like, and that's why I didn't mind that scene where they were bickering about, like, you know, like, geek facts, because it was her kind of making a point to him of, like, you're clearly just obsessed with how cool Oasis is, where I'm trying to get revenge for my dead dad. And to me, that's why that conversation was more than what it seemed, and that's what I liked about it. And that's the same with, like, Nolan Sorrento. It's him trying to, like, prove himself by, like, oh, I'm, like, look at me, I'm cool, I'm, like, you know, I'm not this corporate dude, like, and he has, like, the people in his ear telling him, which obviously didn't fool Wade. But that conversation also was more than just, like, I'm better than you, or I'm better than you. Like, it was more than that. It transcended that. But it was, like, guys under, like, a stupid, silly conversation.
What did you think of Nolan Sorrento, now that you bring him up?
I think, I really like that actor.
Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, I've seen him in a couple of things, obviously, including Rogue One. And I just always find him to be very cool and intriguing.
He's so slimy. Like,
he's so slimy.
I want to see what he would be as a good guy. He's such
I don't think it's possible.
He's such a villainous actor.
But he doesn't even look, like, he doesn't look bad. Like, he doesn't look like a bad guy. He doesn't have the typical thing. But something about the way he carries himself, you're just like, you're a slimy dude. It's super...
He looks like he would be like a very corporate, greedy suit. It just kind of makes him the perfect antithesis to what Wade is, which is just this poor kid trying to do the right thing because he looks up to Halliday.
I really loved the ending where, first of all, Halliday was perfectly cast. That was fantastic. But where Halliday says, you know, I'm not crazy about reality, but it's still the only place to get a decent meal, which is a Groucho Marx quote. And I just thought, like, the way that he said it, so, like, melancholy and, like, you know, somber. It's someone who spent their whole life in fantasy and science fiction and geekdom that he didn't get the chance to live. Like, he spent his whole life dreaming. And it's so sad because he was so successful and created so many beautiful things that everyone else gets to enjoy. But at the end of the day, he was so touched to have Wade understand him because he was never understood before. Yeah. Like, his whole life, he was just misunderstood by people or taken advantage of.
And there's a moment where Anorak, Halliday's avatar, kind of chokes up at the end. Ugh. Like, he didn't think anyone would actually be able to do it.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I just needed to be sure. And he's, like, kind of choking up. And you don't need to see tears to, like, actually hear, like, the actor in the background just, like, kind of tearing up.
Did such a good job with that.
It was perfect. It was very Willy Wonka.
Yeah, that's what I thought of. I thought of Willy Wonka for sure.
How gratified he was that someone actually understood him for once in all of eternity because he had died several years ago.
Yeah.
And he had lived, 60 years or so?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was just such a beautiful scene and so well done. And then kind of like the end where they decided to shut down the Oasis for a couple of days a week. Like a really fantastic ending.
The problem I have with that is they've already in the book, they have made it very clear that a lot of people's jobs is on the internet. So that's cutting into their actual work pretty severely if it's 2 days during
especially when
the
poverty is
so rampant.
Yeah.
So technically
that's a good point.
They got really rich and made everyone else a lot poorer.
Well, maybe they gave people raises or something. Maybe they're fixing the situation.
They did have a lot planned with the money, which is really cool. But I do like that notion. Like, we're so stuck on our phones. We're so stuck watching TVs and going to movies and reading books that we don't ever, or not that we don't ever, but it's so rare that we actually see people appreciating the days that we're given. Mm-hmm. And that's it's something that we can't take for granted.
Yeah, for sure. And I think when you're so wholeheartedly invested in literature or movies and all of these different fantasies that are in the world, it is easy to feel misunderstood because a lot of people don't share your interests. So it's hard to like explain to people like how excited you are for something that isn't actually real, when a lot of people, their lives are their jobs or their, like social circles and stuff like that. But yeah, so I thought Halliday's position, not that, I'm a genius who created, this immersive fantasy video game realm, VR realm, but he is relatable in that way. Even more so than Parzival, in my opinion.
Maybe I should talk like Halliday for the rest of this review. But actually, I think we should close it out now that we've kind of touched upon the main theme of the review and the movie. I'm not going to keep doing that. But
it's pretty good, though.
I actually really liked the cadence that he spoke. He kind of mumbled a little bit more than I did.
Okay, wait. Let's close it out with your favorite scene.
Oh, favorite scene. Oh, I didn't even think about that. You first.
My favorite scene was definitely when they went into The Shining.
Oh, that was
And
so good.
I've never seen The Shining, and I will never see The Shining. But everybody knows, like, the quirks of The Shining in certain scenes, because it's just everywhere all the time. And it was amazing, and I loved it.
I loved H and how scared she was in The Shining, because she wasn't...
Hey, little girls.
Hey, little girls, you know the way out? Perfect. Excellent. I love stuff like that. And there's a lot of little things like that if you know the source material, you'll enjoy it 10 times more, but you'll still enjoy it regardless. Mm-hmm. One of the great aspects of this movie is the fact that, like you said, it felt fresh, it felt new, but it also felt old. Mm-hmm. It felt like they took the formula of 80s movies, specifically Spielberg-style 80s movies.
Yeah.
Because it was Spielberg. And they were able to turn that campiness into the future.
And I think that's what makes it so unique.
Yeah.
Because they're not trying to conceal the campiness. It's right there.
Like, it felt like The Last Starfighter or Back to the Future or Goonies-esque in some cases. Mm-hmm. And a lot of, like, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes.
It just totally captured that feel. That feel-good movie feel that the 80s had.
Mm-hmm. And I think one part that I noticed is like in a lot of like certain scenes they would add sound effects that were very 80s, like there's like the last scene where Nolan gets into the cop car next to that like lady, I forget her name, and she like he says something stupid to her and she hits him, and then they have like a little like jingle that you don't see in films anymore, and I think that really added to
in the actual like soundtrack.
Yeah, like in
yes.
in the track itself, and it
or when Wade kisses Samantha and H kind of gives them a wink and you can hear like the ding.
Yeah.
In the soundtrack. Love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool. It's just like some of those subtleties that you don't realize are adding to the nostalgia because films just kind of progressed from that.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. Oh, and I recently saw Terminator 2, and there's a scene where, like, he gives the thumbs up as he's going down. I was like, yes, I understand that.
I understood that reference.
I wouldn't have, like, 2 weeks ago, so this is perfect.
I think it's a good movie. Is it a perfect movie? No. And there are a lot of dialogue issues that I have with the movie, specifically what we talked about earlier. But nothing is ever, like, truly a perfect movie, because everything is a reflection of reality, which is kind of what this is meta, like, talking about. And it's just such a fun movie. And I think if you have any reservations and you've actually watched up to this part in the spoiler review, I'm sorry for spoiling everything to you, but you should definitely check it out.
We warned you.
It's definitely worth your time.
All right, last review on the Georgia peach flavored Coca-Cola. Have you changed your mind because you drank a lot of that syrup?
You know what I realized? It tastes like it has like it gives my tongue the same like
Snapple
coating that like I would get like on a cough drop.
Oh.
Which I'm not.
To me, it's like when it touches your tongue, it's like Coke, but then as it's going down, it tastes like Snapple, and I love it.
Snapple. Actually, yeah, that does kind of taste Snapple.
Snappalicious.
Thank you guys so much for watching up to this point. If you've got to this point of the video, please write Peachy Keen in the comments so we know who you are.
and that we know that you're Peachy Keen.
Yes. And please let us know your thoughts on Ready Player One. Did you like it? Did you not like it? We want to know why. And what your favorite parts of the movie are. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Again, if you want to help fund our content, you can always check out patreon.com/geekritique. Every dollar counts. Every dollar helps us create this content and keep moving forward as a YouTube channel. So thanks, guys, and thank you for our two new Patreon sponsors. That's really awesome. And if you guys aren't subscribed, please do.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Bye.